Good evening. Today is March 2nd, 2021. Thank you tonight for being here. Um, we're going to go ahead and get going with our meeting tonight. Our thought for today is common sense is instinct. Enough of it is genuine. That's by George Bernard Shaw. I'm going to go ahead and officially call this meeting to order tonight. Tonight we have a special guest here with us tonight, our senator, Ms. Tonya Anderson, who also is a pastor as well. And we're going to invite her up tonight to give our invocation. Senator, thank you so much for being here. If you would please come tonight. We appreciate you so much for being here and all the things that you do and for hearing for not only Newton County but for Rockdale, and I think you're part of the CAB as well. So thank you so much for the things that you do for this community. If you would please lead us in prayer tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for this opportunity. Gracious God, we just say thank you. We thank you for being so good to us. We thank you for being our protector, for being our guide, for being everything that we need you to be. We thank you for your grace and your mercy. God, we are at the end of a day, and we thank you that you will continue to strengthen and empower us to be all that you called us to be in this moment, when we leave this place, and forevermore. We thank you for every leader that is represented tonight, every citizen. God, we thank you for Newton County. We thank you that they are a light on a hill that shall not be hid. We thank you for our chairman and every commissioner. We thank you for all employees, God, and we just thank you for every business owner. Just thank you for what you're doing in Newton County. It is special, it is different, and it is you. We give you thanks that as we go through this meeting tonight, that your presence would rest, rule, and abide amongst us. We give you glory, honor, and praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. Next, we're going to have our Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to ask Commissioner Sanders if she would lead us in our pledge tonight. Thank you so much. Commissioners, you had the opportunity to look at the agenda. I seek a motion of approval, please. Commissioner Mason.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the agenda for tonight.
I second.
Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion? All in favor? It passed 5-0. Thank you. Next is citizens' comments. This opportunity that we allow citizens to come up and make comments about agenda topics only. You have 3 minutes to do so. Please state your name and your address for the record, please. You may come at this time. You may come at this time. Thank you so much. Next is the chairman's report. Guys, I am happy tonight that, we are, this year is our Newton County birthday. Our bicentennial, our 200th birthday, and we got a lot of great things going on. But tonight we have a special guest with us tonight. Our Senator, Ms. Tonya Anderson. If you would please come, and she has a proclamation that she want to present to us. I'm going to ask not just the chairman. I'm going to ask the board and our bicentennial committee if you guys would come up and we all receive this proclamation together. If you don't mind.
Anyone else? Sarah coming up? Yes, we are one Newton. We are one Newton, so you have to come. Waiting on someone else. Or you? What can I say other than congratulations? Congratulations on being a stellar act in the state of Georgia, for being one Newton, for being the leaders that you are. And I want to say that you have my support, and you always will as long as I represent Newton County. So thank you for what you do. This is a state of Georgia resolution. Everybody doesn't get this. They don't have the best senator. But this is a resolution recognizing 2021 as the Newton County, Georgia bicentennial and celebrating the 200th anniversary of Newton County and for other purposes. Whereas Newton County, Georgia was created as a county and political subdivision of the state of Georgia on December 24th, 1821, pursuant to local act of the Georgia General Assembly of the state of Georgia, Georgia Laws 1821, page 38, and whereas the year 2021 marks the 200th year of Newton County's existence as a county and political subdivision of the state of Georgia, and whereas the Newton County Board of Commissioners seeks to appropriately recognize and celebrate this historic 200th anniversary of the county's existence by marking the year 2021 as a Newton County bicentennial. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body recognize 2021 as the bicentennial year of the creation of Newton County, Georgia, and celebrate this historic anniversary in honor of the county's rich history, heritage, culture, and community, and its contributions to the prosperity and welfare of the state of Georgia. Be it therefore resolved, further resolved, that the Secretary of the Senate is authorized and directed to make appropriate copies of this resolution available for distribution to the public and the press. Senate Resolution 21 by Senator Strickland, Anderson, and Jones of the 10th, adopted January 27th. We did as close as possible. 2021. Congratulations, Newton County. Okay.
Thank you so much, Senator Anderson. We greatly appreciate you and all the work that you do. Next, we're going to have our county manager's report. Mr. Lloyd Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight we have our auditors from Mauldin and Jenkins here with us to go over our audit report. And we have with us Miller Edwards and Justin Johnson, both of Mauldin and Jenkins. And I'll ask, I believe Miller is going to make a presentation to you tonight. So, and before you have a copy of the audit. You also have a copy of the CAFR, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report.
And everybody's read it, right? Cover to cover, right? We're good? No questions? Yeah. I appreciate you all having me here this evening. I know you've got other things on the agenda, so I'm going to be very quick unless you stop me and want to keep on talking. Let me just say in a nutshell, you had a good year when it came to the audit process. You got a lot of good things going on here. I think about the improvement we've seen. I think this was our third audit, and they just keep getting better, y'all. That's a great thing. I think about when we first met you all a few years ago, there were some financial issues that I was concerned about, and y'all have done a great job of dealing with those and addressing those and putting yourself in a better position. When you look at everything in this audit, one of the key things I'd say you ought to spend time reading if you haven't read it, is make sure you go to page 5 through page 20 and read what management wrote as what we call the management discussion and analysis. Read that, and it'll give you a great insight into some of the numbers and what they mean. It wasn't written by us, it was written by management. So to me, it's a good thing to have in front of you. When it comes to looking at the numbers themselves, well, let me back up. The audit report, the opinion, number one thing, it's clean, okay? So what we call unmodified, but I thought I should definitely say that. But when you look at the dollars and cents of everything, when you look at the county government itself, which is the governmental activities, the general fund, SPLOST, water, solid waste, all these things rolled up, you're about a $337 million operation when it comes to your assets. $337 million of assets. Now that's not all cash. Okay, about $217 million of that is going to be your capital assets, your fixed assets, that kind of thing. You do have about $100 million worth of cash and investments, but it's already called for. It's already got things designated how it's going to be spent. A lot of it has to go towards SPLOST and those kind of things. A lot of it is restricted in that respect. But again, it's a healthy looking balance sheet. You've got only about $89 million worth of debt, liabilities. But in that liability, you've got about $76 million of long-term debt, okay? Gives you an equity position of about $250 million. So again, it's like I said to you all in the past, I believe if I had a balance sheet personally that looked like this, I'd feel pretty good. I think we all would. So you've got a good looking balance sheet when you look at everything across the board. When you look at everything again across the board, how big is this operation? You took in about $114 million of revenues across all your different departments and funds of the primary government. You spent about $102 million. So you actually came out ahead by about $12 million. Some people might say, well, why in the world would we do that? Well, because you're trying to grow your fund balances. You're trying to grow your abilities to go forward. And I think you got to have a few years like this. And let's say this, let's be happy that we did that in the past couple of years too. We just had to go through a pandemic, and it's not over yet. All these kind of things factor into why it's important to have a good, strong, ever-growing fund balance. This community, it's not only 200 years old, but it's 200 years and thriving and growing and demanding. You've got a lot of initiatives. You've got a lot of constituents out there that need and want your help. And so you've got to have the ability to do that and not have to wait on the seasonality of revenues and all those kind of things. You've got to be able to have the wherewithal to go through the lean times as well as the good times. And the only way you can do that is to grow that fund balance and put yourself in that kind of position going forward. But again, that was looking at all departments and everything out there. When you look at the general fund, which is the heart and soul, of course, of the government, the general fund had a good year, about $73 million worth of revenues. We spent about $64 million, so that gives about a $9 million margin. But you also, the general fund finds itself in a position that's not always common with general funds, but you're transferring a lot of monies out to other funds, helping other funds sustain and have those initiatives. You shared about $6 million this past year with other operations. So that $9 million margin came down to $3 million. That's still okay. You added to fund balance, but it wasn't like it was a huge chunk added to fund balance of the general fund, but it was a nice addition. Do that a few years and you'll keep putting yourself into a good position going forward. You know, when you look at fund balance, everybody always asks me what's the right level, and I always give them the answer, it depends. It depends on when you're measuring it. Your measurement date is June 30th, And at June 30th, you had about 4 months worth of fund balance. Now, you tell me, you know, how much fund balance should you have? Well, we don't get property taxes, which is the biggest thing we get. We don't get that until the fall. But again, the constituency wants you to continue to provide services, not say, oh, we got to stop, it's July. We got to stop, it's August. We'll get back to you come November. You have to have the wherewithal. And you've got about 4 months worth of savings in that wherewithal to help you get through those times. And if you were a 9/30 year end versus a June 30, you'd have a different looking balance sheet at September 30th. You'd have a much skinnier looking balance sheet because you would have used funds during the months of July, August, and September before those property taxes kick in. So again, it depends on when you're measuring things. I bet if we were to do a measurement right now, or not right now, but at 12/31, you'd have a really good looking balance sheet. You'd have all those property tax revenues collected, and you'd be in a different position. The balance sheet is only good for one day. This balance sheet's good for June 30th right there, but it's a nice looking snapshot. If I'm in your shoes, I feel pretty good about things. I want to say this about your general fund. Great looking budget to actual this past year. Everything did better than budget. Revenues came in a little bit more than budget, about $126,000. But every department, every functional area spent less than what was budgeted. Y'all, I don't get to say that too often. More revenues than budgeted and less expenditure spent. That's a great thing. That helps you grow that fund balance by about $3 million. Your water fund is a positively cash flowing operation. Okay, it took in about $4 million worth of positive operating cash flows, meaning if you take revenues minus the direct expenses, are we cash flowing? Are we able to service our debt? Are we able to invest in the system? Yes, you're creating positive cash flows. Now, you do have some other proprietary funds like the solid waste that aren't doing the same, but I never see solid waste do anything different than what it's doing here. Solid waste is not a money maker for any governmental unit. So you've got that, but your water fund is doing well for itself. It's not a huge fund, but it does do fine as far as taking care of its own business. Pension. You know, we were talking about long-term debt a moment ago. When I said you had about $76 million worth of long-term debt, I did not include your pension. Your pension has got what's called a net pension liability of about $2.5 million. Your pension is only 59% funded. If you ever want to look at yourself and say, hey, if we think we've got excess reserves, if we dare think that, you could always put it into your pension plan and make it be a little bit more better funded, which will also enable your investment people to invest in things differently under state law. You could look at maybe doing something like that if you ever felt like you had too much in the way of any kind of reserves. I don't personally think you are at that point. I think you've actually got a good looking balance sheet, but nothing to brag about, but I think it's healthy. I think it's a good place. I understand that during the last few months since June 30th, y'all have issued some debt. All I can say is be careful about issuing debt. You've only got so much margin there to be able to pay that. I know you've got a lot of initiatives, and I think those are all great. Just all I can say is buyer beware. Be careful about going out there and doing too much in the way of debt. You've already done a pretty good chunk already this year from what I'm hearing. So just keep that in mind. It's just like we would at our own household. We might want that $1 million house, but it's not necessarily what we ought to do right now. So same idea. Last thing I'll mention, as in the past, you've had federal monies come in this past year, and this did not include CARE. This did not include any of the pandemic funds for the most part, but you took in about $5.7 million of federal funds this past year. The biggest ones was from DOT and also from the EPA. About $2.5 million, $2.7 million of the 5.7 was through those two parties. And those were considered to be by us major funds. We had to audit those in accordance with the Single Audit Act. And I'm happy to tell you everything was clean, all I's were dotted, T's crossed, and we're able to give you a clean report there. The final thing is, did we have any findings? We had no findings, okay? That's the second year in a row I've been able to tell you that, no findings. We did have management points, things that we've discussed with management, nothing that I believe is that important to talk with you about today. There are things that management's aware of. We got some segregation of duties issues we need to look at, tweak some things about how we operate. Some of those were within the county commission's offices per se, then others right there in the constitutional offices, like in the courts and that kind of thing. It would be nice to tweak those things and make our internal controls better. I'd love to be able to tell you this time next year we had no segregation of duties issues, but that's where we are right now. You've got some unclaimed funds, some old outstanding checks that need to be addressed. I think I might have mentioned that in the past to you all as well. You also have some parties out there within the government that are doing what's called backdating a check, where they write a check in July and date it June. That's not the right thing to do. Let's let it run through accounts payable and let it rest there and not do any kind of changes to our cash. Those are the only things we had. Some segregation duties, there were 2 management points on that, and then these other 2 that I've just mentioned. Again, nothing that would cause me to qualify my report, but things that I'd like to see if we could work on and make things better. So that summarizes it very quickly. I'm here to answer any questions you might have in the meantime.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, you have any questions tonight? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for that, that summary. You talked early on about our fund balance. And without getting into what we have and what we should have, and you also mentioned our rate of growth in this county. Now, I don't know how aware you are of that rate of growth.
I am.
So is there a relationship between what you recommend as a fund balance to account for exceptional growth in an entity like Newton County?
Well, you heard me say that I think you need to keep adding to it. Okay? You need to keep adding to fund balance because you are growing like a weed here right now. And all these things that you're growing are going to come with the same routine services that you have otherwise, but the demand's going to be that much greater.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to grow our fund balance to be able to provide these routine services that we have to our people. I mean, if you go from 100,000, all of a sudden 120 to 140, all of a sudden there's going to be a greater need, a greater demand. Mm-hmm. So we've got to do that. Now, if you were in Southwest Georgia, where I have some clients down in Southwest Georgia, for that matter, even in Southeast Georgia, and there's no growth at all, matter of fact, people are moving away, maybe you don't need a fund balance that's great. Maybe you could utilize some of your reserve funds and just let fund balance come down. But I don't think anybody, any county in the metro area of Atlanta, Georgia, has any business right now decreasing fund balance in this type of situation. Again, you've got 4 months worth at June 30th. Not 6 months, not 9 months, 4. Mm-hmm. With y'all's initiatives that you've got, if I were in your shoes, I'd be trying to grow that to 6, 7, 8 months worth of reserves, mm-hmm. and be in a position that you could do just about anything you need to cover these routine costs that are going up, up, up. So,
thank you. I haven't looked at one of these since I told Lloyd a while ago, since grad school, but you didn't have any findings.
No, sir.
But the management points, do they seem to be recurring year over, or are they?
Yes, I'd say they are a lot of times. The ones that we've got this year, we've talked about in the past, and I don't want to minimize this by saying what I'm about to say. County governments are a little bit unique. They're not a corporate structure like a city is. A city can have the mayor and the city manager say, do it, and it's done. Mm-hmm. In a county, you've got all these elected officials who can do it their own way a lot of times. And so it's a little bit more difficult to cure some of these things when you've got a county government. All we can do is make the recommendation. All we can do is get your support for the recommendation, mm-hmm. and see what can be done about it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Mason? Commissioner Henderson, I'm sorry.
Well, thank you. I'm getting younger. That's great. Just joking. So you said we've got about 4 months of fund balance.
In the general fund, yes.
In the general fund. So this is how much money?
How much money is that? It's about $23 million you've got in fund balance on operations that are about $72 million in revenues.
Okay.
So that's where I was saying about a third of your revenues you've got in fund balance, so about 4 months, something like that. It's a good place to be. I mean, it's a lot better than having only 3 weeks or something. And I have had governments that are in that position at June 30th. But I also have governments that are growing like you all are, that are sitting there with 8, 9, 10 months worth of reserves in their general fund because of the demands that are coming toward them.
Okay. And second and last question, and you had recommendations, I think, for staff or some of our offices. So, Lord, I guess how are we gonna address those? I'm asking. So how do we kind of address it?
Well, we would pass those management notes, those recommendations on to the constitutional officers as they are, and request and make the recommendation that they make these changes as we have in the past. And then any of the recommendations that are directed at the BOC departments, then we would make those changes. There's a couple of them that were there that were recommended. One in particular on some separation of duties, and that's one that we haven't changed simply because the workload is such that we would not be able to keep it doesn't require two people to do that, so that's why we've combined those duties into one. But we would simply pass those on, and as Mr. Edwards has said, we can recommend and we can request, but they do have the ability to do as they see fit.
Thank you, Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you so much
Yes, sir.
for this report. I'm excited to hear that we're in a good place
You are.
and that we are moving to an even better place.
Yes, sir.
I always love going from good to great. I wanted to ask the question about, we were talking about the fund balance. Do you have any suggestions or recommendations on how we could potentially grow that fund balance by any chance, just based
Well,
off of
I-
what
I-
you've seen in the audit?
I think the way you grow fund balance, it needs to be methodical. It needs to be not drastic any one particular year. I look at what you did this past year as being a good thing. It wasn't crazy growth. Again, $72 million worth of revenues, and you were able to retain $3 million of that. What's that, about 4 or 5% that you probably were able to retain? I think that's healthy. I don't think that's, you didn't retain 12 million, you retained 3. I say just keep doing what you're doing. I think your management is attuned to this. I know you all are as well, that you've just got to look always at the sensitivity of our revenue stream and what's right, what's wrong with it. What should the levy be? What should we have in property taxes? I got the easy job. I just get to report to y'all. Y'all got the hard job. You got to make the decisions. But you've got to just look at those decisions and trust management with the actions that need to be done. When I look at the fact that your expenditures were by all departments, were less than budgeted. Nothing crazy, not like some department was down 2 million, but if everybody can do 200,000, 150, 300,000, and revenues can come in a little bit more, then that is something that then can just good growth of fund balance over a few years. You think if you had the same year we just went through, if you did that again for the next 5, and watch your fund balance grow in the general from about 15 million, it goes from 23 to all of a sudden 38. Then all of a sudden you've just quietly been fundamentally growing that fund balance with no radical decisions, just good old fashioned working it. And I think that's probably the healthiest way to go about it.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Anything else, guys? No? Thank you so much, sir. We greatly appreciate
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate it as well.
Thank
Call
you.
me if I can ever be of any help to you. Be
Yes,
happy
sir.
to
Thank
come
you.
by.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The film on Saturday night was a big success. Had quite a few people turn out, and that's the first of several movies that will be shown at Legion Field, and so hopefully more people will be able to come and enjoy those. We have a total now of 85,000 registered voters in the county. Lastly, I wanted to just let you know that the senior services served 4,900 meals during this past month. So we're continuing to serve and make sure that our seniors are fed and trying to take care of their needs, including getting them to their vaccination appointments.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Guys, I'm sorry. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lord, how many people have the senior service, we said, either vaccinated or helped to get in line to get their shots?
I'm sorry, I don't have that number in front of me, but I know that we've had, the Senior Services has taken about 110 individuals to be vaccinated over at, I believe that the majority of them were taken to I'm having a senior moment here, folks.
It's all right. I have them all the time.
The Baptist church I know that the chairman attends.
Yeah.
Springfield Baptist.
Springfield, thank you very much.
Are there any other churches who may be accommodating I guess, seniors or people who may need their vaccination here in Newton?
Let me take that.
Sure, go right ahead.
Commissioner, we are trying our best to get more vaccines here in Newton County. Right now, Newton County, as you know, Newton County, Gwinnett County, and Rockdale County utilize the same, we're in the same district. As of last week, Newton County had vaccinated more people than Rockdale County. But the plan is we're working with the board to try to get a location here in Newton County. And so we're working really hard. The problem is getting more, I'm having a senior moment.
You too young to have a senior moment.
Getting more vaccines from the state. That's the biggest problem. I don't think finding a location would be so hard because we can partner with other churches to utilize the facility. But the biggest problem is getting more dosage to our local region. So that's the biggest issue.
Okay, just one last follow-up question. So do you have an estimate as far as how many people is in, I guess, in Newton, in Newton who have received their shots? And where could we get the information from? And how can we get more churches involved in being available to give those vaccinations to our citizens? Because a lot of people the reason why I'm saying that, people have called me and they have said, well, how can I get a shot? And I can't find nothing online. If I call, the phone's all messed up. And I be somewhat having a senior moment, I said, I don't know. And so I think we need to work more on trying to help our citizens to get their shots. And we got the teachers coming online, I think, in the next few days, and having a place for them to receive their shots.
I'm going to try to get Dr. Rona to come at our next board meeting and give an update. Again, I don't think, I know a lot of people saying the location. I don't think the location is the problem. I think the problem is getting the dosage from the state. And I agree with you 100%. I got so many people calling saying, hey, when they open the lines back up, so many people are calling. And I tell you, because I'm on the board of directors for the health department, within an hour time, or less than an hour, I think the last time it was like 46 minutes. In 46 minutes, all the spots was filled. All the spots was filled. And that stuff is going on throughout the state. But we're waiting on Johnson & Johnson to get their approval. We heard the governor say yesterday that can happen any day now. So everybody's sitting in the same position. But I do understand because I'm getting the same call.
Well, yes, Johnson & Johnson have got their approval, and it's supposed to be a one-shot vaccination sent out soonly. So what are we doing, our county here, in order to make sure that our citizens get as many shots of the vaccination that we need in order to get the number, whatever that number is, up higher than what it is already?
Yeah, the only thing that we can do is work with the state. I mean, the county cannot go out and get doses of vaccines. We depend on the state, as every county does, unless you know something different. But that's, our hands are tied just like every other county in the state of Georgia. We want the same. Everybody want the same thing. You want your loved ones to be vaccinated. I want mine. I'm sure every commissioner does. But that has to come from the state. Commissioner Sanders.
There is another company that's also doing the vaccinations. Are we only dealing with Johnson & Johnson? I was just watching the day they got approved. It's another company that got approved to produce the vaccine. So is Johnson & Johnson the only one?
No. They doing other companies.
Okay.
But Johnson & Johnson got approved today?
No, there was another company that got approved
got approved
outside
to-
of Johnson
okay,
Johnson. They got approved to do the vaccine, and they're actually distributing.
Okay.
So I didn't know if you guys were aware of the other entities.
I think that's Merck, and I think
Yes.
Merck is working hand in hand with Johnson & Johnson. So I think we'd be dealing with Johnson & Johnson anyway.
But again, I'm gonna have Dr. Arona to come to our next board meeting or call in and give us an update on the things that we can do as a county on what we can do also. Guys, we're running a little bit behind. It's time for going our public hearing tonight. I apologize, we went a little over. For those that are watching, I'm gonna call Mr. Sam tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This public hearing, which relates to item 15 on your agenda, is related to items 16 and 17, having to do with economic development in the county. I see in the audience Sarah Hall, who's been so instrumental in all the county's efforts, and I'd like to welcome her to give a brief introduction.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sarah, for being here tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. Great to see you. Good evening. I know that we are a little bit over time, so I will not delay long. I do have a quick PowerPoint to share with you tonight. And as Sam mentioned, we are going to discuss items 15, 16, and 17. And I'm coming on behalf of you tonight as representing the Joint Development Authority of Stanton Springs. It is with great honor and pleasure, and as you know, that we get to work on behalf of the Joint Development Authority. Myself and Shane Short are the engines and the bodies that help recruit for companies. And so I'm not here tonight to give you the quarterly update. I'm here to give you great news about a prospective company coming to town. And along with that, it's always good to have those conversations and see how we're filling out the park. And so to give you a few quick items regarding that is that, thank you, is that we do have a new company coming to town under the name of Baymore LLC. This company has been working with the Joint Development Authority for many months now. The Joint Development Authority recently passed a set of bonds to incentivize the project for their investment of $42 billion. I want to remind you that those bonds are not bonded through any debt to any of the 4 counties. They are phantom bonds. They are bonds for title. And so that will have no recourse. I heard the gentleman up here earlier talking about bonds and debt. So I want to make sure that that is not debt that will come back to you or any citizen of Newton, Morgan, Jasper, or Walton County. They are on the behalf of the company. This company in particular is in the realm and the idea specifically what the JDA is targeting. High technology, it will be a new data center, and with high paying jobs and jobs that will come in with that. We are also, and as many of you know, we look for those that are community partners, and we fully believe this will be a continuation of the 2 world-class partners that we have down at Stanton Springs, and will complement very nicely Takeda and Facebook's Newton Data Center. Along with that, I have 3 items for consideration tonight, and as Sam mentioned, the first one being a public hearing of the development agreement, the next one being an intergovernmental agreement, and the last one being a resolution to authorize the Board of Assessors to enter into a contract. So there'll be 3 items. To give you an idea is that I have made a world tour of the 4 counties tonight, and these are all the agreements that all 4 other counties had to approve earlier today. I will let you know that Jasper voted on Monday, Morgan this morning, Walton just a few hours ago, and all of them have gone through the same process as you, and each of them have voted for approval as well tonight. Along with that, going into the development agreement. So as the public hearing, the development agreement is between Baymore and Newton County. This particular project straddles both Newton, Walton, Morgan County within the park. And as a result of that, in a development agreement, it really talks about applicable regulations. What can be built there? What does it look like? It really relates to zoning, the permitting fees, the process that it will be taken, as well as the responsibilities of the company back to the county, as well as the JDA. Morgan County and Walton County both approved to acknowledge this agreement today, and they are an acknowledgement because, again, we are fully committing the development services work here, and that will be explained in the in the intergovernmental agreement, as mentioned. So I'll turn this back over to Sam, and if I can answer any questions so we can, I guess, open up the public hearing, but that's the first one.
Sam.
Thank you, Chairman. So those of you who were on the board in 2018 may remember we did a similar development agreement for the Facebook data center. Because we have another data center project, because I'm familiar with that agreement, Judy Johnson is very familiar with that agreement, we decided it would be efficient to use essentially the same agreement that's been working so well for us. As Sarah mentioned, we do waive some fees, but not all of our fees in this for development. We do lock in the development standards that the company will have to comply with. We do promise them some expedited permitting considerations. And we do tell them that we will not support residential zoning right around this property, which Judy tells me we'd be crazy to do anyway, because it's an industrial area. As Sarah said, the key difference in this agreement compared to 2018 is we now have a project that is in 3 counties all at once. And Newton County has stepped up to take the role in permitting for those other counties as well as our own. It's not as complicated as you might think at first because Stanton Springs has basically uniform zoning and development regulations that were very foresightfully adopted back when Stanton Springs was created. But we do sort of take on this additional role of permitting for all 3 counties. And we can talk a little bit more in the intergovernmental agreement later about how that works, but basically we are the only ones who get to charge the fees and do the enforcement until it gets to a certain level. I'll leave it at that. I'll take any questions you might have.
Any questions, guys, before we open it up for public hearing? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question is for Sarah, if that's okay.
Yes.
Sarah, for perspective, can you take us through Takeda, potato, their total investment, Facebook's projected total investment, and now Bay Mare LLC's projected total investment?
Yes, sir. So Baxter was the first name of Takeda when it came in, and their original investment was $1.7 billion. And with 1,500 jobs. They have since stated that they have invested a little over $2 billion within the park at their full operation and build out at the moment. Facebook's data center, when it came in at 2018, stated that they did bond up to $42 billion as well. Their phase 1 investment was $750 million for their beginning phase 1 investment, and that is more on the structural building. And then their second phase was over $1 billion. Most of their investment is in equipment that will continue on for their period. And then Bay Mare LLC, as you mentioned, is very similar, $42 billion is their overall investment at the moment.
And one more, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman. So their tax structure will be set up similar to Facebook in terms of the pilot
yes,
program,
sir.
right?
It is. And again, to jump ahead, this will be covered a little bit on item 17. The Joint Development Authority has offered as a tax incentive to be a payment in lieu of taxes, also known as a pilot payment structure. And that structure will come in, as Sam mentioned, based on criteria that we use that will be in building, investment build out, as well as job creation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanders.
Thank you, Sarah, for the information. I heard you mention about the employment. Can you tell me how many of those employees are Newton County residents?
Which one?
You said 1,500 with Decatur. You know how many on the ones that are actually present now, Facebook and Decatur?
I don't have a total documentation of just Newton County residents. I can tell you when Baxter came in and Decatur honors this is there will be at least 51% Georgians that will be employed instead of coming in. I can tell you that there is a plethora of people that are employed at Decatur within our 4 counties, not just Newton alone, but the 4-county partnership.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How much of for each of those companies did the county give a tax abatement for, in other words, when they first came in, I remember coming in, they said, well, we're gonna abate this amount of taxes and in order to help them, lure them here to be here in Newton County. Yeah, so I'm just kind of, excuse me, and I was trying to wonder how much, or do you have an idea?
Yes, sir. So for this particular project? Yes, sir. So for this particular project, we set up a pilot payment schedule that during their construction period, there will be a percentage of their taxes abated. And then once they have their building constructed, their first building constructed and receive a CO, then they will start to turn in paying taxes at that point, the payment in lieu of taxes. It will be $1 million a building and adding on additional $1 million each building they build beyond there.
Correct. And just, I just tell you what my concern is. I think that the taxpayers in Newton County, we went above and beyond along with the governors. It's been a couple of governors help in, making sure that they were set up here because they were good companies and they are. But I still haven't seen the outreach in the communities, And I tell you what kind of saddened me, we were talking about some projects and maybe they was gonna earmark some money to help recreation out, Newton County recreation out. And it said $4,000. And I said, well, it's good. Something better than nothing. But I just think we got all the big time companies and they get all this money and grant money going out and they seem like they give little to nothing to the reason for the season in the citizens of Newton County.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, sir. We're going to open it up now for public comments. Guys, the applicant and those in favor, you have 10 minutes tonight to come and speak. If you would, please state your name, your address for the record, please. Those that want to speak in favor of the applicant and those that want to speak for this, you can come now. 10 minutes to do so. Anyone want to speak in favor? Thank you. That portion is closed. We're going to open it up for now for those that want to speak, those that want to oppose this. You also have 10 minutes. You please come and state your name, your address for the record, please. You may come at this time. Anyone want to oppose tonight? Thank you. That portion is closed. I think this is in District 1. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve development agreement with Baymare LLC with acknowledgement and approval of Morgan County and Walton County.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? One abstention. Can you state the reason, please?
We're giving all these big companies a whole lot of money, a whole lot of tax abatement, and they're not giving anything back to the community, to Newton County. And I'm just tired of voting. I've been voting for them, supporting them for years and years, and I'm just tired of doing it.
Thank you so much. It passes 4-1. One abstention. Thank you. Guys, we're going to go ahead and do item number 16 as well.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman, and I appreciate that. And Commissioners, so the next item on for your consideration is the Development Service Intergovernmental Agreement. And so what this states, and this has been a long time coming, and Sam and I kind of alluded to this as well too, is that this is basically a way to uniform kind of permitting services, the ability to be able to do expedited permitting. And we had the luxury in the western portion of the park with Takeda and Facebook that the majority of their footprints were in 1 or 2 counties. Takeda being, or when Baxter came in, it was predominantly in Walton County. Facebook site was predominantly in Newton County, so it was simple. This one we like to consider a 3-legged stool. It has a piece of Newton, a piece of Walton, and a piece of Morgan County. And as stated by the attorney, this intergovernmental agreement basically works as a joint effort and a joint partnership, which is what we are down at Stanton Springs, and offers uniformity and as well as a direct line and permitting process for a company that comes into the park. So it has a couple of components in it. It states that all permitting will be handled by Newton County for the Facebook Data Center, the Parkway, and the Bioscience Training Center. All future work for Takeda will be handled by Walton. And then beyond that, for the new project, since, as Sam mentioned, it is a request of a data center, and we are familiar, and Judy's team is heavily familiar, it has been the request that Newton County would be the lead and handle that process point and be able to do that. There are many permits and other things that we can't handle on behalf of another county without an agreement like this. And so, and Judy in depth, we've had long discussions regarding this to make sure that we are continually respecting Newton County's ordinance along with what is going on in Morgan and Walton as well too. So for this is just a recommendation that it helps not only the company but our counties provide the best service that we can for business.
Thank you. Sam?
Thank you, Chairman. I thought Sarah did a good job summarizing the high points of the IGA. I will just add that this sets up a framework for not only the project that you're considering today, but any other project that crosses the county lines. I think it's fair. It defines the role of the kind of lead permitting county and the backup role of the assisting counties. And what will benefit other counties today may benefit Newton under the same IGA with the next project. And I'll take any questions.
Any questions, guys? Thank you. I seek a motion. It's in District 1. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This time I'd like to make a motion to approve Development Services Intergovernmental Agreement with Jasper County, Morgan County, Walton County, and the Joint Development Authority of Jasper, Morgan, Newton, and Walton counties.
Can I get a second, please? It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I guess it's the Lord. Would this put any kind of strain on us providing that services, to helping those with those services? Because I know one point we had hired maybe 1 or 2 additional code enforcement or whatever, and so would this put a strain on us?
No, sir. We're not going to need to hire any additional personnel for this. It's not going to. This will not impact us. Most of the inspections and all that will be done on this project. With a project this size, in most instances, the developer or the contractor typically hires their own inspection people, and so our role there will be very limited. So it's not going to put an extra burden on us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any more? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Item 17, Sam, do you want me to start or you want you to?
You're on a roll. Go for it.
Okay. Item 17 is the resolution to authorize the Newton County and the Board of Tax Assessors to enter into a contract. As Commissioner Edwards mentioned, we do offer tax incentives and tax abatement process points. And this is a contract or a resolution that allows our Board of Assessors to enter into an agreement and a contract on behalf of Newton County and behalf of the JDA with our incentive package offer. Again, this will be structured into a payment, and will be come in for taxation. So we humbly ask for your consideration and approval of this.
Thank you. Guys, you have any questions? I seek a motion, please. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion to approve Resolution R030221, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Newton County, Georgia, authorizing the Board of Tax Assessors of Newton County enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Joint Development Authority of Jasper County, Morgan County, Newton County, and Walton County, the Board of Tax Assessors of Morgan County, and the Board of Tax Assessors of Walton County regarding Project Baymare and related purposes.
Thank you. Can I get a second, please? Thank you, sir. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any more discussion? All in favor? Passes 5-0. Thank you so much.
Thank you, commissioners, and thank you, Chairman, for tonight. Again, I just want to thank you again for Stanton Springs, and we're excited to finally have completion in the park. This is great news, and so thank you for your constant work and work in support of through this.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much for all the work that you do. You and Shane, y'all are a great team. So thank you guys for what you're doing for these communities.
And please, our team, legal team, Gerard and Davis, Sam and Megan have been a rock star on this, working with the other 4 counties, all 4 counties and their legal teams, and Judy working with the other team members, with Lloyd, with the development services. We couldn't have done this, and it truly is an inspiration to see that joint effort and partnership here. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. Guys, I want to go back to the county manager report, sir. Were you done?
Yes, sir, that was all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next is consent agenda. Commissioner, you had the opportunity to look at the consent agenda. I seek a motion of approval, please. Commissioner Mason,
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as listed.
thank you, sir. Second. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Next is item number 10, Public Works, requesting approval by the BOC to purchase right-of-way and easement for the roundabout at Kirkland and Jack Neely. Mr. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our Transportation Director, Chester Clegg, is traffic engineer, is here tonight. I was going to ask if he will come forward and address the board on these right-of-way acquisitions.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chester.
There are 3 projects that we're acquiring parcels and easements for. One is at Kirkland Road and Jack Neely Road. That's for the roundabout. And there's 2 bridge projects, one at the Yellow River on Brown Bridge Road and one at Snapping Shoals Creek on Brown Bridge Road. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parcels with easements and right-of-way that we're acquiring for a total of $52,000. So we're making pretty good progress. We have 1 more parcel at Kirkland and Jack Neely. One more property owner owns 3 parcels, and then we'll be ready to start that construction on that project. On the other 2, we're close to starting those projects, the 2 bridge projects this year. So the construction. So we're making good progress on those.
Thank you. Guys, any questions before we, Commissioner Henderson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The one on Jack Neely, Kirkland Road, I think. The young lady that owns the I think the elder care home,
Yes.
daycare center.
Yes, sir.
Have y'all settled with her?
No, sir. That's the one property owner that's left. And we have made her an offer, and she has counter offered. And so we're having an appraisal done, an official appraisal for the 3 parcels. And then we'll see what we can work out.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I seek a motion, please. Commissioner Henderson?
Can somebody refresh me on the motion? The motion to approve the, let's see, so moved to approve as was stated by the chairman.
Can I get a second, please? It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any more discussion? All in favor? Thank you. It passes 5-0. Next is item number 11, economic development discussion, consideration of Covington, Newton County, Newton Industrial Park, and exterior finish requirements. Ms. Martin. Sarah. Oh, okay, Sarah. Okay. Sarah, you're quite busy tonight.
I am busy tonight. That's a good thing, right?
That's a great thing.
Good evening. I'm coming before you for something a little bit interesting. This is a request and a consideration for Megan, correct me on the correct language here, an exception for covenants for the current industrial, or the Covington Newton Industrial Park. Is that okay? Okay. So, if any of you are familiar, back in 1974, around the Harlan Drive area in General Mills, the city and the county had worked together with the gentleman who owned the majority of the land, Mr. Patillo, and created this Covington Newton Industrial Park. Many of you have seen me before ask you for comments regarding the first right of refusal when people purchase land there. Well, there is also a list of protective covenants within that park, within that area. And we have a new company looking to come to town and build a new industrial building facility on a piece of land that is still undeveloped at this point. It is right across from General Mills on Highway 142, this lot here. If you're familiar also too, this is the new, or the rail spur that actually went behind it to service what is now McKinley Paper. And so in this facility, it is fully within the city limits of Covington here, and it is also currently zoned M2. So it is zoned for industrial use. This company, according to the covenants that was adopted in 1974, states that you have to have certain finishings and requirements on the building. And they are looking to use an alternative use to their finishing that is listed within the covenants, and they are looking for us, the Board of Commissioners, as well as the City of Covington, to approve their alternative use. This did go before the City Council of Covington last night. It was approved unanimously by them, and so because you are considered one of the grantors within this covenants of the park, they are asking for you to help support them. This is their last piece that they have to do before they can go and officially get their permits to build and construct. This is their speculative footprint. They will build approximately a 200,000 square foot building, and this is the exterior rendering of what they would look like. So currently in the covenants, it states that the building can be concrete, a tilt-up concrete building, but it is suggested that they cover the finishing with either brick, stucco, or stone, or an approved other item by the grantors. You and the City of Covington are considered the grantors. They are asking for their finishing use would be a paint scheme that you see here. This is basically painted concrete of their tilt-up wall. It is very commonly used. It is actually approved in the M2 ordinance of the City of Covington. They are asking for no other variances or have applied for and plan to not apply for any variances within the City of Covington. They will follow all their M2 rules. They are just asking for you all to support the request that this would be an accepted finishing use for the covenant. So I come to you tonight on behalf of this company. We'd love for them to go here and build their building. We do believe, since it follows in the guidelines of the City of Covington, and ask that since the City of Covington approved it last night, that you all would support and provide a letter that you support their finishing structure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, any questions? I'm not sure if this, I know it's on the line probably, but 5 and 4. So one of you guys, whoever, we're gonna ask Megan to read the motion, and then y'all do.
The suggested motion for tonight is a motion to direct the county attorney to prepare and authorize Chairman Baines to sign a letter of consent to the request of the applicant as presented by Sarah Hall here this evening, to use its proposed paint scheme as presented by Sarah Hall and Judy Johnson, back in the back, subject to compliance with the applicable ordinances and requirements of the city of Covington.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So moved as stated by the county attorney.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you
Sarah.
all.
Thank you. Number 12, discussion for reconsideration of a motion on REZ 20-000009.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you all recall at our last meeting, Commissioner Cowan was participating by telephone and was unable to hear some of the details regarding an item on our last zoning. I'm going to turn it over to him to share those with you, and then we will jump back in.
Thank you, Megan. I'm here basically to ask the board to correct a mistake. And it was a mistake and an assumption I was making based on information, trying to get it from this thing to the board. I don't know if any of y'all have ever done a call in, but that is the worst time. I mean, you cannot hear anything. And I made the assumption on that particular piece of property that they were dividing that into multiple lots, and did not realize that there were already 2 existing houses on 1 lot, that the purpose of this was to basically get a new survey line in order to bring the 2 new lots into compliance and become legal lots for the county. So I was under the impression that they were doing multiple lots for development, and but they're not. This was a mistake on an assumption that I made, and I made the motion, and I would like to ask the board to allow me to change that motion or withdraw it or rescind it or whatever the proper term is for that, and then allow this line to be drawn and have 2 separate lots back on the county tax map as properly should be done.
So you want to go ahead and read your motion, or?
Yeah, I would like to make a motion, well, basically a reconsideration, well, a rescinding of my motion of last week, which is on REZ 20-000009, basically not to allow the proponent to move forward with the zoning in order to bring the 2 applicable lots into a legal status with the county code.
Can I get a second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Cowan, second by Commissioner Edwards. Discussion. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are these in the minutes already? In our minutes? I guess I'm asking Ms. Jackie, are these in the minutes? From the last meeting, I think we had minutes, don't we? And then from last meeting, it's supposed to be in these minutes. What Commissioner Cowan was referring to.
You asking if they're in a packet tonight?
Right.
No. She's not finished with them yet.
Okay, so. Well, I guess I'm asking, typically, they'll be in the minutes. And then if you ask the clerk to change the minutes, but we haven't got the minutes. So I guess, how does that work? You tell me.
We are not
I'm not
going to
against-
change them. We are not changing the minutes. So the minutes from our last meeting stand. That would be a violation of the Open Meetings Act. So when Ms. Jackie finishes those minutes, they're going to reflect Commissioner Cowan making the motion to deny. What is occurring here is separate from that, and these minutes will reflect that the reasons why this came back to the board. But the minutes that Ms. Jackie's working on have to be accurate, and they'll reflect what votes were made.
Yeah, I would just like to make it clear that I made the mistake on this, and I'd like to clear that up. It's not anything y'all did. I made the motion based on the wrong assumption of data that I had at that particular time. So I would like to clear that up in order to keep the lots, and of course, all y'all know I do real estate work. I want stuff right when we're doing titles and stuff like that. Make sure the lots are legally in compliance with the county code. So I think the county has a strong interest in this.
Okay. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I have a question and then a statement. So if Commissioner Cowan's motion passes, this change, the original change will be made. It'll mean the original motion of 2 weeks ago passes. I mean, this zoning passes. Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Secondly, Commissioner Cowan is not all to blame for this. This is in my district, and I failed to ask the proper questions to give perspective to my fellow commissioners. So I'll take responsibility for that. Essentially, we're not adding homes, any more homes to a road. We're not adding any more families or children to a school, to overburden a school. We're simply drawing one single property line down a 8-point-something acre tract of land. Is all we're doing. So I failed to convey that properly originally. I'll go on to say that I think these. Let me just end it there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. Did we have was it like a zoning? You give 5 minutes for this side and 5 minutes for that side, and they had to advertise? Was they advertised? I'm asking, because I'm trying to understand. Well, that's what any type of, it was zoning, right?
They had the hearing last.
We had a hearing for
Yeah.
and one against. If that being the case and you change, do you not have to re-advertise?
Just to address that, I asked that question of the county attorneys, and they provided me a legal opinion of that, and we do not have to re-advertise on that. But it's based because it's a mistake. It was just a mistake. Yes.
So,
We need to re-vote on this item tonight. I don't know if everyone understood that, but if you're essentially rescinding, then you don't need the motion, so to speak, but I'd like, if we could, just to be clear for the record, to go ahead and vote up and down.
okay. Commissioner Henderson.
Well, shouldn't the motion have been, I'd like to make a motion to rescind and then act on it?
We can do it that way as well.
What I'm saying is, yeah.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to,
There's a motion on the
There's a
floor, so
motion
who's
already,
going to
yeah.
offer the substitute? You can amend your motion or substitute motion.
okay, my amended motion would be a motion to rescind the motion I made at the last Board of Commissioners meeting, due to the fact that I could not hear the discussion, and two, I did not have all the information. I based that motion on a wrong assumption of the facts, and I would like to clear that up, please.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned by Commissioner Cowan and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Pass.
That's all.
Yep, ask for it. We'll have to amend the
we
agenda
need
to
to-
include.
We need to do another one.
We're going to need to amend the agenda to have that next agenda item. So should I say that and then you all do the motion? Okay. This would be a motion to amend the agenda for tonight for item number 12A. 12A is the motion for approval of rezoning request 200000009.
So, I don't know who district this was in, but I don't know, it was your district?
It's right on our line.
Okay. So whoever, whichever one y'all want to make the motion.
Motion to approve as stated by the county attorney.
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Calvin. Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Next is item number 13, Fire Services, purchasing, requesting approval of contract for Sunbelt Builder for Fire Station number 4. Mr. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jeff Prine, our project manager on this project, is here tonight to address the board on this contract, and I'll ask Jeff if he'll step up. Thank you, Jeff.
Good evening, everyone. We're very pleased to bring to you tonight a bid for Fire Station number 4 with Sunbelt Builders. We had several bidders who put out bids for us, but they were the most competitive bidder, and also they were within our budget that we put forth as well. So we're asking you to approve the contract and authorize the chairman to execute the contract so we can get underway.
Thank you, sir. I seek a motion, please. Everything tonight, Commissioner Edwards. Wow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to approve a contract for Sunbelt Builders for Fire Station number 4.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jeff. Next is item number 14. Discussion, consideration of agreement for the sale of realty regarding the conveyance of 0.09 acres of land. Mr. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a small tract of property, land that's located adjacent to a house that is on Brown Bridge Road, just east of the bridge over Yellow River. As you will recall, this was presented to you for discussion back, I believe it was the first meeting in February. This parcel, this tract is taken out of a parcel of property that is actually owned by the county, and the request was made in order that the property owners would be able to have a better, a more cohesive shaped piece of property, and that it would not, that their house would not be located so close to their existing property line. In addition, this falls in line with the goal that we have to try to divest ourselves of property that is not useful, if you will, to the county, and also relieves us of the burden of maintaining properties like this that are isolated and do cause us a lot of difficulty when it comes to the removal of trees and so forth. They approached us about the possibility of purchasing this piece of property, and so it was, we went through the process of doing so, and so that property has been surveyed and identified, and so we would like to have the board's approval to move ahead and allow them to purchase this piece of property.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve with the recommendation of our county manager.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any more discussion? All in favor? Thank you. It passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Next is alcohol license, final reading. This is District 2, Commissioner Mason. Have at it, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the final reading for Peachmark 2534 LLC doing business as Bailey's Inc. at 2536 Highway 81 South, Covington, Georgia 30016. The owner is Bailey 76, Neha Galani in District 2.
Thank you, thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion, guys? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Next is also District 2, Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion that we pass the final reading for alcohol license for Wadnania USA LLC, doing business as Salem Food Mart, 3633 Salem Road, Covington, Georgia, 30016. The owner is Sahil Wadnania in District 2.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a second, please? It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you so much. This is an opportunity that we are allow citizens to come up and talk about any topic you want. You have 3 minutes to do so. If you would, please come and state your name and address for the record, please. You may come at this time. Thank you. Commissioner Cowan.
Thank you. I just wanted to remind you of the conversation I had with Dr. Patton to get you with Dr. Arona.
I'm sending an email out after the board meeting. We're going to team up with the city of Covington and the county throughout the state.
And that's to notify our local delegation about some issues that there's a current bill out there dealing with public health agencies.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Patton wanted us to not support that, or get our local delegation to not support that. Yeah. Again, I just would like to say that if you guys any of y'all do a call in, we've got to come up with a better way, because you cannot hear on the phone the board meetings.
I will say we are planning to change the setup in here. We get a lot of complaints on Facebook Live and YouTube, and we need to change it so that the sound would be a whole lot more efficient. So,
right,
yeah.
And I did notice that we are having the retreat. I'm looking forward to that. I want to say to everybody, I look forward to putting together a team, everybody working together again. It's been good the last 4 years. I think our audit report tonight shows that. I know when Stan and I first came in 4 years ago, and the chairman, there wasn't 2 nickels to rub together in the county. So now we're in much better shape than we were, and we just got to continue that road. So just want to say that that's part of being a good team player. So thank y'all. Look forward to it.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanders.
Last meeting, I was a little confused on the reaction from 5 citizens that came representing the Boys and Girls Club. For some strange reason, someone falsely provided information that I was here to dismantle an organization. I only spoke to members of the board, and not one written or verbal communication consists of getting rid of a program. I find that to be very interesting that many have conversed with my colleagues, but never reached out to me before the meeting to seek a clear understanding. After providing factual information on how many of our children were being missed on the West Side based on the programs offered and the amount they were able to service, which was also mentioned by the representatives on that evening, I also stated that the residents of District 3 asked that their tax dollars go to projects where they can see it in the district. Just like the roundabouts that are coming into the district, it's something tangible that they are able to see their tax dollars at work. Every commissioner on this board has the opportunity to utilize their splash dollars in their community based on what their constituents want and where they're able to see it in work daily. It is my job and duty to listen to those I serve, because they are the ones who put me here along with the grace of God. Because I spoke out, I have been personally attacked. Individuals of the Boys and Girls Club sent an open records request asking for my written notes of HOA meetings, which I know many on this board have never been requested their written notes. I've also been told, basically because I am a woman and the first African-American woman sitting on the platform, that I should be silenced, which is one reason why the Me Too movement came about. Many people thinking that women should be silenced. Unfortunately, I was placed here to have a voice, so I will not be silenced. Yes, I know after this statement, attacks will continue and more will come. But shame on those who take the time to intentionally try to harm someone because they don't conform or believe in their ideologies. Many are afraid of change instead of opening up their minds to see that it can be for the better. Instead of getting to know the individual, they go on hearsay or someone else's thought process. As the Bible states, be not deceived. God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, the seeds that you plant shall also be reaped. That's Galatians 6, chapter 7, verse. It also says, no weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. This is the heritage of the servant of the Lord, and this is their vindication from me, declares the Lord. Isaiah 54, chapter 17, verse. There was rumors that because I'm asking and the citizens asking for this to be put in their district, that I'm doing this for personal gain. God has blessed me to do some amazing things in my life, so I have nothing to gain from helping the citizens want what they want in their community. It is an honor and a privilege to represent my district, and I will do just that if you allow me to do so. I thank you for this time, and many blessings to you all.
Thank you. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we heard from tonight our auditor, and there was a piece that really he got to hit on a couple times, and each department, if I understood this correctly, each department was under budget in terms of expenditures. That doesn't happen by accident. I believe Lloyd beating them over the head, and I believe we creating a culture, a culture here has created those circumstances within our county finances. We've created that culture right here, specifically over the last 4 and 5 years. I can tell you, we all came on together, and Commissioner Cowan kind of hit on a couple things there. So rubbing two nickels together. So I'm proud of the county for that. Lloyd, pass those along, please. Stanton Springs. You ask any county in this state, we are the absolute envy of the state. I'm telling you. So excellent job there, Sarah. To your team, the JDA, Economic Development, Shane. You can tell him I said that. Great work, but it takes a push from here too. So I thank the other commissioners for that. The last thing I have is, please remind your district constituents of the community pride in terms of the trash on our streets right now. It's getting a little better. I saw a machine picking up trash the other day. So things are getting better, except for Elks Club Road. Things are getting better. I know there's some community cleanups planned, I think, by Newton County tomorrow. So I would encourage you to let your districts know, just be cognizant of the trash, and you're not going to be able to stop the people from driving down the road and throwing just trash right out the window. But ask people to be more aware of and have more community pride than some of the things I've seen lately. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I'm Lord and Megan, I'm just a little bit out the bag, if I may. Proud of our discussion before 6 o'clock. I'm very excited about the possibility of the OR Cousin School becoming a voting precinct in that district, and the improvements that we're going to be doing, maybe as far as the parking and et cetera, and it's going to be really great for the community. Because I was so tired of when I early vote, and I'm an early voter. And then you should join in with me, whoever may hear this, to be an early voter, because it makes a big difference in the elections, in my opinion. But to have space that you can go and vote and have parking, where you can park your vehicle instead of parking way across town somewhere and walking way over there to vote and then getting a line and up under the tent, you know, we'll be able, it's my vision that we'll be able to stand in one room in a line, not in the elements, hopefully, and be able to vote for whomever we may choose to. And I think that's good. And one last thing, and I'm not gonna reveal all of it. There's no greater honor than maybe looking at honoring people who have and still is serving us, our old folks. And for there to be a possibility of naming the old Oral Cousin band room after Mr. T.K. Adams, I don't think it's getting any better than that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank those citizens and our county staff that took part in our District 2 Retail and Community Summit last Wednesday. It was a phenomenal summit. We learned a lot. So I want to thank Sarah Hall. Thank you so much, Sarah, for working with me to help put that entire summit together with our economic development team. I want to also thank Debbie Harper, our president of our Chamber of Commerce, for working with me to go out, pass out flyers, and invite those local businesses in District 2 to actually join the summit, to give their feedback, their input, and even to learn how we can begin to develop retail on the western side of the county. And then I have to thank our phenomenal retail coach, Mr. Charles Parker, who took the time to really explain to us how retail works throughout Newton County. And so one of the things that I learned, if we want to expand retail in certain areas, the way to do that, I've come up with my own little slogan with Sarah and I, we come together, is to shop local. If you really want to expand, shop local. Support our local businesses, support our local restaurants, support our local retail shops, support them. And as we support them versus going outside of our county, and I know on the western side, we may have to have a little drive to get to some parts, but it's worth it in the long run because one, we're generating that revenue back into our community, which is what we want to do. And then secondly, it causes those current restaurants to potentially expand to the western side of the county, or there are other retailers that are looking at Newton County currently, and as they see that revenue being consistently generated throughout Newton County, it will propel them to want to come to Newton County. And so it was a phenomenal summit. I encourage each one of my other commissioners to get with our economic development team, do that for your districts. We can do that, do this summit in all 5 districts. It's not just for District 2. I've just been working on bringing more retail to the western side of the county since 2019 when I came in. And so I've been on Sarah for a long time. So I was glad we finally got to this point and really learned the demographics of our county, how we can increase retail. And I think once we begin to increase retail within our community, we're going to see an overall financial benefit that we're going to be giving back to our citizens. And I think at the end of the day, that's what's most important, that we invest in retail, we invest in commercial, we invest in economic development so that we can provide a level of relief to our citizens and put some more money back into their pocket at the end of the day. So I just want to thank you all. I also want to say that I thoroughly enjoyed, my wife, my kids, we thoroughly enjoyed the drive-in movie this past Saturday. We had an excellent time. Of course, we brought our own food. You know, we bought some chicken and some, you know, some other stuff, some other goodies.
Oh, wow.
to add to whatever else we had. I think our chairman had some good food there too. So.
I did. 6 seconds, sir. 6 seconds. 6 seconds.
See, he won't let me use up my whole time. You gotta let me use my whole time sometimes.
You did. You did.
Thank you,
Guys,
Mr. Chair. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Guys, I want to thank a few folks. first, let me thank our team, our financial team, from Mr. Kerr and his staff. I want to thank the Board of Commissioners, guys. If it wasn't for this whole team, our financial situation wouldn't be what it is right now. So I want to commend all of you for what you have contributed to this. If you voted for it, thank you. If you put the plan in place, thank you. Commissioner Cowan and them are right. When we came on board, I think we had like $3 million in our fund balance, and that wasn't enough money. I think it takes over $4 million to actually operate a month. Is that correct, Mr. Kerr? It's more like 6 million. Okay, 6 million now. Wow. So that's unbelievable. If we would had a troublesome month, we wouldn't have been able to pay our bills. And now we have got to the point that where we're at now, that is amazing to me. So I commend everybody from Mr. Kerr and his staff to this Board of Commissioners, guys. Thank you so much, and let's keep that going. Also, I want to thank everyone that has a role to do with the JDA. Facebook, doing this coronavirus, all of this, I think Facebook has donated over $2 million to small businesses here in this community and our school system. And I'm so thankful for that. And I know I don't want to say too much because we're in this meeting right now, but we're going to be looking to get another donation real soon from Stanton Springs. I think you guys already know about that. So we're looking to do that real soon. And I'm just so thankful for the team that's been put in place to push economic development here in our community. Thank you, Sarah, and Shane as well, for doing what you do to make Newton County look good. And, the governor said it best. Newton County has it right. Well, Newton County, Walton County, Morgan County, and Jasper County, we got it right. And he is trying to push other communities in the state of Georgia to put a joint development team together. So thank you guys for what you're doing, and we're looking forward to announcing this new project really, really soon. Hoping all the commissioners will put it on your Facebook as soon as it announces. Put it all over social media because we're definitely proud of it. Guys, I think that's it tonight. We don't have any executive session, so I seek a motion that we adjourn. It's been motion by Commissioner Henderson, second by Commissioner. All in favor? Pass 5-0. Thank you.